and welcome to the Cancer Journey podcast. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Shariann.
And today we're going to be talking about what do you do when you just don't feel brilliant? Like you're on a cancer journey, there's brain fog, there's so much going on. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we get started, let's get grounded and we're going to do our PESH check-in. I'm going to start today. Okay, so physically, I 4.4, emotionally 4.6, spirit 4.25, hope is 4.35, and my word is passion fruit.
Okay, let me get grounded here. Physically, 4 and rising. Emotionally, 4.3, period, 4.6, hope 4.5. And my word in this moment is blooming.
Okay, so coming from a place where, like, to be completely transparent right now, like, I am not feeling brilliant or like, it's like I'm motivated, but I can't make it all happen, right? And so I know that I'm coming from a place of like knowing I'm capable of doing things and knowing that I can make things happen, but it just feels I feel like stuck by my own being right now. Yeah.
That's a fascinating place to be. I'm in a similarly different place where it's like, okay, brain, get online, get online. And it's this combination or I don't know what it is, but it kind of feels like a little bit of brain fog, which anybody who's been on, going on, experiencing a cancer journey is familiar with. And then there's also the aging process. So if you're older and you're already aging, and then all of a sudden you're adding a cancer journey onto that, then the brain really goes offline, and you're like, I know this. I've known this. This is a simple thing. And yet it's like grasping through that fog, right? It's like, what is it? And it takes a beat. It's not as quick, it's not as clear immediately. And so noticeable, right? For people who are used to being on it and having access to their mind and ideas and words and thoughts. And then you get into this place, and then it's like, what's happening? Why do I not feel brilliant today?
Right. And it just feels like you are in your own way. Like there is nothing else. And this is gonna happen a lot during today's session where I'm just like, I lose the words that were coming out of my mouth as they're coming out of my mouth. Sometimes I know, but oftentimes it's because there's so many thoughts happening at once that I don't know which one wants to come out. But this not feeling brilliant, this brain fog, this what a lot of cancer individuals might feel as a chemo brain is like, and blank, everything goes blank, everything comes right out of my brain, and I feel like I have no control. And it's also coming from a place of historically, like all of our faculties, we know what it feels like when we're on, and it feels so good. You feel sharp, you feel witty, you feel brilliant, really. And we also are coming from this experience in our lives, which is like from the moment that you are like 3 to 5 years old, you're like, okay, we're learning and we're getting smarter and we're getting faster and we're being able to accomplish things at the rate that other people tell us we're supposed to be moving. And so for any number of reasons, when that dips, the fear that something's wrong, that I'm aging and that there's something wrong with my brain or there's something wrong with me is where that starts to come back to, right? Like the negative ego circles it back around and it blames yourself because you feel like you are the only one in your way. I know I just said a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a roller coaster, right? Where we have good days and we have bad days. And the good days is when we're feel sharp, we're on, we have access to our resources. And we often think about the physical resources, but what we're talking about right now is the mental, the emotional, and the spirit, the spiritual, the spirit of me and my motivation and my inspiration. And that's an important part too, not something that somebody can actually implant in you or give you. So when you have all of this coming at you at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm having a great day. Great. Let me take advantage of that. No, I'm having not a bad day because I don't want to classify it as good and bad. I'm having a less resource day. And then it's like, um, I don't like that because I want life to always be playing like at the top of my game. But that doesn't even make sense. And I'm glad we're talking this out because we play so hard on the good days that there has to be a rest period, a lull. And if we're not going to give it to ourselves, then guess what? This does. This being says, okay, rest time. Yes, we know you just got sleep, but it's not just sleep. It's almost like just recovery, regrouping.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to slow down, right? Because that negative ego gets really loud when you don't feel resourced. And it's the first person we want to blame is ourselves, right? And while I know that, like, especially physically, there's any number of things that you could prescribe if we're going the fix it route. However, as coaches, we know that we're not giving our clients advice. We're not telling them what they should be doing. That gets to be a personal choice. And there are things you can choose from yourself. Like some people know that exercise will help with their cognition, or sometimes there's supplements like creatine and stuff like that can help with cognition. Or if the more natural route of that would even be like different mushroom types that kind of help with the cognition and really jumpstart you. And those are great and fine for anyone to try on their own. There's plenty of those things. There are apps that are designed just to help you, like, tune up your brain like it's an exercise. But what we are really talking about is being in a healthy mindset, a healthy mental state to be able to hold you when you inevitably have days where you're not like brilliant, and when you're not feeling resourced. And so, like, what I know that I need in this moment for myself to stay in a healthier mindset instead of feeling like I'm valueless and worthless because I can't come up with the next word in my sentence is trust. I need more trust in myself. And in that process, as you were saying, that like there needs to be rest more than just sleep. There needs to be moments where my brain doesn't have to be on.
Absolutely. Okay, so you said some great things, and I had something I was holding on to it, and then it just flew out. As soon as I opened my mouth, it flew out. And that's the kind of day it is. It's like I want to be sharp. I want to be on. I want to be articulate. And yet, as I said before, we can't. But what I was hearing you say is compassion. We need compassion for ourselves so that we could take that extra beat, that extra moment. And I think I said something to you earlier about timing. It's like we're kind of put into this world where fast, 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 fast. Like we're slowing down is almost anti-productive, right? But there is productivity in the healing of slowing down. So it's almost like the antithesis of what we're taught. It's like rush, rush, rush. I gotta quickly go into treatment. Quick, quick, quick. I need to get that test done and that scan. And it's just like I've got to move fast because I don't have enough time. And I hate using the quotation marks, but time is all relative. Time for what? The body needs time for healing. And if we're pushing it, it gets tired and exhausted and it either shuts down or it fights back. I know that to be true. It's like if I keep pushing forward or pushing through, it becomes this, okay, we're going to fall on our face. You can't stop yourself, so I'm going to stop you. And that's not just my body. That's this. That's that. That's the the brain fog, the chemo brain, the old age. It's just my brain going, we worked really hard. So we just it's basically like I just need to turn off a bit. Just like our computers, if we're working on them so hard and saying, you can do this, you can do this. And then it'll be glitchy or just like stall the internet. Yep. It'll just, I can't even think of the word, but you get it. It's like I can see that in not just me, but other parts of life.
Yeah. I mean, your computer, your devices have a finite amount of battery before you need to charge it back up. And so, in the same way, how are we charging ourselves back up? I do want to go and touch on something that I thought that was really interesting that you brought up, was that when we stay on this cycle that we very much are very comfortable in being, and push, 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 knowing that the risk is that we know we will likely fall on our face, whatever that looks like for you and whatever situation that is, because it's not literally falling on your face. I like metaphorically, I'm imagining like skiing or snowboarding down a mountain, right? And you want to go fast, right? There are things you like about going fast. There are things that kind of fly by you. Sometimes you fly over them and it feels really easy. So I can see how that translates sometimes to like treatment, like you're saying, like we're trying to go fast through treatment because it feels icky and we don't want to, but we have to go through it. So we're just trying to kind of get it out of the way as fast as possible. And oftentimes that means like as blind as possible because it's icky. It doesn't feel good. Knowing that the risk is that we can fall or burn out. And that's actually like the risk that we are all so willing to take in that rushing. Whereas in any other sense, we're not really willing to take the risk. We're not really willing to take the risk of slowing down and seeing what that feels like. Even though we know there's far less risk in slowing down. Like the risk of slowing down is less injury to your, I mean, physical body if we're talking like skiing, snowboarding, but less injury to, your mental capacity, to your emotional health, to your spiritual connection to yourself and to a higher power, any of that. When we're rushing through, we are losing opportunities to connect deeper with ourselves and deeper with the environment we're in.
I love what you just said. What sparked for me was, why are we rushing? Because somewhere we're told to, I think. It's like it's an implanted message that we're rushing, and it's this push, push, push. And truth be told, I felt like my cancer treatment journey was a period of time for me to really slow it down. I personally didn't work through my treatments, so there was a lot more space. And so I didn't have to use my mind so much to deplete that part of it. I mean, it was already being impacted by the treatment. But something that I did do while I was going through treatment was I coached. I had a client who was really understanding and said, sure, I still want to continue this while you're going through your treatment. And this is really interesting, is that I coached from my heart because I couldn't access my brain all the time. So I would be listening. I would be really present because there was nothing else that I could do. I'm like life just kind of really kind of focused itself. And so I would be on the phone, kind of with my head down, just listening, eyes closed, and with an open heart. And I think I did some of my best coaching then because I was really with my client, and I wasn't multi thinking in my brain. It was just like, what's here, what's here, what's here. And then then that episode is done, and it's like, oh, well, now I'm over here in life, and today, I'm not going through a treatment journey. I'm here working. And you were talking about stimulants. Here I am with my coffee because I'm not allowing my brain to be where it is. I want it to be sharp again. So now I'm adding in the artificial stimulants.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, myself as well. And we know that is kind of the crush that we need sometimes. And I think that, like, I love that example of how when you were coaching, you really got to continue to be authentic and be in that work because you're tuning into your heart. And so what really clicked there for me was like in those moments when you're not feeling your most brilliant, because typically when I'm speaking of feeling your most brilliant, it's a very cognitive, mental, head thinking, delivering kind of process. But in this example that you're giving, and you got to be so heart-centered. You got to almost like turn off your brain and continue to do your work in a less efforting way and have a job that allows you to do that, which is really beautiful. And it actually reminds me for specifically our coaches and the way that we coach. Sometimes we want to go to our brain and we want to be like lofty and high-minded and prove ourselves to our clients that we are brilliant and you should trust us because we know everything. We know the experience, like all of that. But really what our coaches do, it's not that you have to be insanely brilliant to understand it. You have to be intuitive and heartfelt. This is heart work that we do for the cancer community, because it's so much more than talking about why did it happen this way, why did it happen that way. It almost doesn't matter the why. It's about how do you feel, how's that resonating with you, and how do you want to feel. It's about getting clarity about what's actually going on here for you, rather than trying to figure out the best answer, because it's not about fixing. It's about being. It's nothing that you have to do. There's no game plan that we're coming up with you and like saying, okay, this is how you're going to solve that problem. And this is the best. We're not strategizing that with you. Are connecting and we're slowing down. And what's great about coaching is, like we said, we don't slow down. Like largely people don't slow down. That whole session gets to be just a moment, once a week, twice a week if you want, that is just for you to slow down and is just about you. And I mean, like, especially with me in this moment where I'm like, I don't feel brilliant. I feel like the things I'm writing, it's like I'm repeating the same words. Like at the beginning of this podcast, when I said sometimes. Like, I feel like when I'm in that space, it's so hard. And it's like, I actually just need a whole chunk of time. I don't have to be expected to say anything brilliant, really. And I can just say how I feel and not even effort for myself, just feel how I feel.
Right. Oh my goodness. That's the beauty of cancer journey coaching, is that it's not efforting for the coach nor for the client. It is a container that's being created, a very safe, trusting container, but it's more about exploration. Exploration for clarity, exploration for understanding, exploration for what's really here. And in, oh, I love this topic that we're talking about. In this fast-paced world that is asking us to speed up, speed up, speed up, the coaching says, okay, let's slow down. Let's be in this moment. And I got to say, of course, I have my own coach, but without that, I would have a really hard time slowing down. Or even though I'm a coach and I've done this, for decades, it's harder for me to coach myself than to step into a container where they go, okay, you're here and let's get present, which is why we do PESH. It's like, let me get present in this moment so I can see what's going on, so I can say words and I can hear myself. They don't have to be brilliant words. They're just real words. They're what's floating around, not just in my mind, but in my spirit, in my body. And it's allowing it to have a place where it can come out. And then I get to be witnessed, and that my coach gets to pass it back to me saying, this is what you just said. How does that feel? What is true about that? What are you making up from these words? Not that it's hard and fast. It's more like an investigation of, so what does that mean? And I might say, no. Or I might say, I don't even believe that. I mean, I don't remember saying that. Let's pause for a moment and look at that a little bit deeper. That feels so healing and so refreshing that I'm actually living it as I'm speaking it.
Yeah, yeah. As you're saying that too, it's like it's kind of exhilarating to be in a coaching session, because there are very, very few places in our lives where we get to feel that free, and that, oh my God, incredibly safe. Because sometimes we're like, oh yeah, I have a friend who I can talk to about it, but I'm sorry, but your friend is not giving you the exact same thing that a coach is, because a coach is directly focused on you. We literally investigate the levels of listening so that there's a difference in the kind of depth that we're going into. And it's not advice giving, it's not trying to sway you in any direction. It really, at the core, is all about you, but with support, with someone who is not judging you, who is like there for you. And when you said the healing, right? Because I was saying that it's not about efforting. It can take effort, especially for people who are kind of new to getting coached. Oftentimes, when people become a new client with a coach, it's like, what do you mean, how do I feel? It's like, well, this session's about you. And so they didn't even realize that they've never put themselves first, quite possibly ever. And that their own identity and definition of themselves is their impact on everyone else. When really, the only person you should be really important to is you. Like, you should have your focus on you first. And the healing that comes out of that coaching, yes, there is that bit of a learning curve when you're a new client to really direct the focus and just say how you feel, because we don't often feel immediately connected to be able to be like, this is how I feel and why I'm feeling that way and where it's coming from and what it feels like in my body, what those sensations are. And once you do, it just becomes like this huge place for healing. So there is like immediate effort, but it's not efforting to be doing this work, because it's about what is true and what is here and not suppressing things that we've suppressed before. So sometimes just taking off that veil is the most efforting part of that. After that, it is all freedom and safety to say anything big and small. And that exploration that you're talking about, it can be really, really simple as like, well, let's just try this thing on. How does that resonate with you? And if it's no, it's a no. And there is no repercussions for it being not exactly how you felt.
Right.
So even though you're not like putting all of this effort into everything you're doing, the result of this slowing down, this process of connecting with your coach, having this time for yourself, reconnecting to yourself, is so much more healing and exponentially makes everything else better. The way you live, the way that you're approaching your cancer journey, the way you're approaching your treatments, the way that you're approaching people, it really exponentially changes. And it seems like such a small thing that it's like, well, why is coaching really worth it? Like, what am I going to get out of it? It exponentially improves your life in every other way. And I know it's hard sometimes to see value because it's not physical and tangible, but it's something that is so easily felt once you get into the flow of coaching.
I just want to pause for this minute and like put the spotlight on you, because from the beginning of this call, when you are recording, that you were like, I'm not brilliant, something, sometime. I mean, repeating yourself, not having access. And then now what you just said was fully resourced, because there was no expectation of what you had to say and how you had to show up or what you had to do. It was more organic. It was more free. You said free. And I loved when you said that, because it is what wants to come out. And we stop it. We judge it before we even let it out. And I get it. I mean, we do the work so much of being emotionally intelligent, like, oh, am I going to hurt anybody? Or when you're talking to a friend and you generally feel pretty safe with them. But the question of is, am I overstaying my welcome? Am I talking too much? Am I taking over the conversation? Are they judging me? Are they bored? We're trying to already take care of the other person, where in a coaching session, you're not. So then you can come back to yourself and the brilliance of you just naturally and inherently, and let whatever wants to come out, not worrying about, am I talking too much? Of course you should be. It is your time. Are you judging me? No, there's no judgment here. You're just saying what you're saying, and I'm just exploring it with you. And I'm stuck. But then the coach is there to help unstick you by helping you go deeper and finding out what's the stuckness about. And that's really hard to do for yourself, because it's almost like I'm speaking it or I'm writing it, but I'm not really hearing it because there's no reflection back.
Yeah.
So I just love your demonstration of going from not feeling brilliant to being, just being brilliant in this short period of time.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even like realize that kind of the journey that I've taken during this like episode, you know? Like and so that in itself, not that this is a live coaching session by any means. This is definitely a conversation, more processing, but that also just shows like how our tools help because I entered this space being like I need to talk about not feeling brilliant because like I don't have the words. I feel like when I'm trying to type something for work, it comes out in gibberish and it makes no sense. It's very inarticulate. To now, obviously, I'm very passionate about what coaching does and all of that. But even knowing and having the conversation about being brilliant and that even that phrasing in itself is very negative ego. This whole thing, it's like it really has shifted me. So if you witnessed that, you really witnessed my shift. And that's I still and then I don't have to feel brilliant to know that I still have value. And I don't have to use the biggest, loftiest words to say that I am a brilliant person. Okay, maybe the words are not coming out all that easily, and that tends to create my own mental block. But even just having this conversation, I do feel so much more free and I feel a lot more understood, right? Because before having this conversation, I was all silently up here stewing. And like you can see how that has really impacted me. And I'm sure many people, especially people who are experiencing a cancer journey with all of this newness of the emotional stuff too, and trying to unravel it in your brain, it sticks and it just cycles on repeat. And then those are the words you're telling yourself. I'm like, oh my God, how miserable would I be if every day throughout the day until I got to talk about this with someone, I was telling myself that I'm not brilliant. Like, think of the damage that does to me as a whole, all the different pieces of me. So that was my takeaway. I'm just
I
so
was going to say,
grateful.
it sounded like a take.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to talk about it. And I'm also like, well, I got to go talk to one of our coaches because I need more space to even talk about this and be a little selfish and talk about myself because it's worth it. It really is to get to a place of feeling like, okay, that voice that says I'm not brilliant right now is totally negative ego. It's not real. It's not real. And the minute I get to drop that and say, thank you for telling me how you feel, it's not true, but thank you, the faster I'll move forward in healing and growing in ways that I couldn't have if I held on to that mentality. Okay, that was more takeaway. But my best, physically, I am 4.5, emotionally 4.75, spirit is a 4.6, and hope is a 4.4, and my word is effervescent.
I'm going to have a really, it's a short takeaway. And we say it in our courses, we say it in our work. There's magic in the telling, but it matters where you're telling it and telling it to whom. And if you're feeling less resource, you want someplace that's safe and that you're not worried about the other person. Yeah, I love coaching. What can I say? I need to make a bumper sticker. I love coaching. Physically, 4.25, 4.4, spirit 4.65, hope 4.7, and my word is ready, ready.
Well, thank you for joining us today. That was an impactful conversation for me, so thank you for witnessing that. And we'll be back next week.
Have a lovely rest of your day. And remember, you're so much more powerful than you realize.